Challenge runs of Fire Emblem come in all shapes and sizes. Some people attempt solo runs with their favorite units, while breaking down how they manage to pull it all off. Others may try an LTC, or low turn count, in which the player tries to complete their Fire Emblem game of choice in as few turns as possible. But there is one challenge that reigns supreme, one that arguably offers the most unique playthrough experiences. This challenge is none other than the Fire Emblem Ironman. For the uninitiated, a Fire Emblem Ironman is a rule set similar to that of a Pokemon Nuzlocke. The typical rules for this challenge go as follows. You are not allowed to reset or restart your chapters. All of your decisions are permanent. This also includes not using the turn wheel and divine pulse mechanics. If one of your units dies, they are permanently gone and cannot be revived. And lastly, if you receive any game over condition, for instance, the death of the Lord, or failing a map objective, then the run is over. Does this rule set sound daunting to you?
Yes!
I don't blame you, Felicia. It's hard to force yourself to not reset for your favorite unit, or go back for that valuable treasure that you missed. But trust me, once you let go of these habits, you'll open yourself up to a new way of experiencing Fire Emblem like no other. Ironmans have strengthened my love for this franchise. Each run I've tackled has provided me with a satisfying playthrough that I look back on vividly. And today, I'm going to help guide you through the world of Ironmanning. Welcome, my friends, to the Fire Emblem Ironman Survival Guide. Let's get started. First off, before you can even get started with an Ironman run, you have to make a very important decision. That is, which Fire Emblem game should you Ironman? This question has branching answers, depending on who you ask and your experiences as a player. Across the 18 entries of Fire Emblem, there are games that are considered to be more Ironman friendly than others. Some will point to Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Path of Radiance, and Fire Emblem Birthright due to their generally low entry level for difficulty. While I would handshake on these games as well, I would say that there are questions to check off before considering your choice. 1. Do you have personal experience with this game? 2. What is the roster size? And 3. How many game over conditions are in this game? Let's start off with personal experience. For your first run, I'd suggest you pick a game about which you are the most knowledgeable. Blind Ironmans can offer interesting experiences, but I would caution against this if you're someone who wants to experience the game for the first time for the sake of playing it. Getting a game over on a brand new game can be frustrating, and I would just suggest sticking to games you have knowledge in playing. Think about this for a moment. What if you had no prior knowledge of how to handle Ryoma's chapter of Conquest? How do you plan to deal with the Hallway of Death? Or is your Korin properly trained to duel him alone? Better yet, do you have a strong Takumi killer for Conquest's endgame? How do you plan to get to him before you run out of time? Did you prepare Tiki, Wolf, and Sedgar to help slay Medius in Hard 5 of Shadow Dragon? Or better yet, how many door keys did you buy in Thracia? Basically, there are going to be situations that do require map and game knowledge. Without the necessary tools at your disposal, a game over could come right around the corner when you least expect it. With your knowledge of said game, you can properly prepare for the challenges the game will throw at you, know which units are worth investing in, and have an easier time adapting to mistakes made along the way. Selecting your comfort game is a smart option if you want to have a better time Ironmanning, but I would also consider the next 2 points before you go right ahead with your choice. Number 2. Roster size. Generally, a larger roster size makes for a better Ironman experience for any player. RNG is not guaranteed to be on your side every time, and your favorite units may bite the dust without warning. An increased roster size will not only lessen the weight of losing units, but can also provide interesting opportunities for other units you may not normally consider using. Games that fit this category of sizable rosters are Shadow Dragon, The Binding Blade, and Path of Radiance. Each of these games have units that can fill in as replacements. Shadow Dragon is especially forgiving in this regard. If you lose a certain amount of units in Shadow Dragon, you actually get randomized generic units that join your squad, so you never have the fear of running out of units to use. That said, while you might say Radiant Dawn's roster offers a good experience due to it having an absurdly large cast, this perfectly segues into my next point. Game over conditions. If there's one thing that can ruin an Ironman run, it's how many game over conditions are present in the game. Radiant Dawn is a game I would generally not recommend a first-timer Ironmanning due to the sheer amount of game over conditions that can happen throughout the 4 acts of the story. Some units that aren't even the Lord can act as game overs. Some maps restrict you to very limited units and can result in very fast game overs. And objectives that the enemy may accomplish can result in the player losing automatically. Radiant Dawn is not the only offender of game over conditions. While the Blazing Sword has a solid roster and low-quality enemies, it does harbor a lot of game over conditions, namely its 3 lords, Hector, Eliwood, and Lyn. While Hector generally becomes strong on his own, Eliwood and Lyn can struggle in a game dominated by enemy lance units. On top of that, there are several game over conditions that are unforgiving. These include Merlinus' Paralog in Chapter 13X, Pent if he somehow gets incredibly unlucky in the Desert chapter, or the infamous Battle Before Dawn, which has ended many runs, all thanks to Zephiel.
You little shit.
With these 3 notes out of the way, let's get into more general advice that can apply to any Fire Emblem Ironman. Firstly, and I cannot stress this enough, do not neglect training your Lord. The Lord characters in Fire Emblem games are a mixed bag of unit quality. Whether it's Sigurd soloing the game from the start of FE4, or Roy being carried by his entire army until the endgame, your Lord should not be neglected. The Lord is effectively your king on the chessboard. Should they get checkmated, it's game over for you. To that end, make sure your Lord stays on par with the rest of your army. Slip-ups in positioning can happen in Fire Emblem, and a woefully unprepared Lord can easily meet their end to an unlucky ambush spawn. And I speak from experience here. Investing stat boosters and boss XP into your lords is generally a good investment. Other units are ultimately expendable and can be replaced. Your lord, however, cannot be replaced and must be deployed on every map. There are even some cases where the final boss requires a trained main character to effectively deal with them. This can end in a softlock should you not invest enough into these characters. Now, while this advice mainly applies to the weaker lords of the series, I would also say high-quality lords should also advise caution to the other extreme of being overused. In the wise words of the Darkest Dungeon Ancestor,
remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
We all love watching Sigurd sweep with the Tyrfing. We all love watching Ike proc Aether, and we admire the limitless builds Corrin can pop off with. But they can easily fall just like any other unit. In the end, take good care of your lord and give the right amount of investment into them for the fun and health of your run. Speaking of that, I would recommend that you know your roster's unit quality. Entire discussions and tier lists have been dedicated to discussing the impact of specific units across playthroughs. These include units like Rutger from FE6, having access to accurate weapons and being one of the best boss killers through the entire game. There is also Har from Radiant Dawn, an insane tank capable of soloing blobs of enemies on his own. And of course, Seth from FE8. I don't think I need to explain any further.
Hey, can you solo the game with Seth? Yes, you can!
To that end, know which units in your army are generally good for the game you are currently playing through. If a unit is tried and true by other players, then there's no reason not to use them. But that also shouldn't discourage you from trying other units. Half the fun for me in Ironmans are using units that I usually wouldn't give a second thought due to them being overshadowed by other units. Fire Emblem is generally a forgiving system when it comes to training up various units. So, if you'd rather use a lower quality unit over another, don't let that stop you. Play Fire Emblem how you want to play it. Now, let's get on to the toughest point of this video. One of the big things you'll have to acknowledge is this: be okay with and accepting failure. I'll just say from experience, Ironmans can have some of the most impactful moments I've ever felt from a game, both positive and negative. Every victory comes with great sacrifices along the way. Some sacrifices have felt incredibly soul-crushing for me. It was easy to find myself dreading that my run was over due to certain mistakes. You might lose one of your favorite units to an unlucky RNG roll. You might have a stat-screwed unit dragging you down. Or you might even lose the run altogether and game over. But you shouldn't let any of these discourage you. Should these happen to you, take a moment to sit back and take a mental note of how to overcome these hurdles when they inevitably arise in the future. Every Ironman run is a chance to build knowledge and confidence in your playstyle, so you shouldn't let a singular loss discourage you. There will always be new units to fill gaps in your armies, some of which you might find new appreciation for their surprising impact in your playthrough. Lord knows there's a multitude of units I've gained massive respect for, each of them saving my runs when it all seemed bleak. If a chapter results in a lot of losses, be sure to take time for yourself and step away from the game. Do some hobbies to take your mind off things, pick up another comfort game to play for a little bit. Do whatever it is that you need to take a breath and come back refreshed to finish the fight. Accepting failure is never an easy task, and taking an Ironman challenge is hard to begin with. With enough determination and knowledge, I promise you that seeing that victory screen will be oh so satisfying. And at the end of the day, an Ironman is a self-imposed challenge of a Nintendo game, so feel free to adjust the rules that feel right and comfortable for you. Some people even do soft Ironmans, where they do allow units to die, but reset if the Lord is killed so they can play the game from start to finish. If there's anything to take away from this survival guide, it's that there is no wrong way to play an Ironman. The only wrong way to play is if it takes away from your overall enjoyment of the game, and there is no shame in adjusting your rule set. No matter how you play these games, we all do it because we all love Fire Emblem. So at the end of the day, play how you want to Ironman Fire Emblem, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. With that, my friends, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy videos like this, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Fire Emblem content. Now, I want to hear from all of you. What points do you recommend to people starting out with Ironmans? What are some of your most memorable moments in an Ironman challenge? Let me know in the comments down below. I would also like to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Your guys' support allows me to make videos like these about a franchise I adore. I love editing videos for this channel, and I cannot thank my fellow warriors and axe chads enough for their kindness. I would also like to thank my friends Poneko, Fire Ambrose, and Zev for providing me their Ironman footage. Please be sure to go check them out and support their channels as well. My name is Davis G, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.